The three blind mice, Lee of Time Rider's Wee Little Cars, George of Hodge's Hot Wheels and Diecast, and Paul of Fat Guy Productions, are hosting another invitational. This time around, it's the Hot Wheels 1973 Ford Falcon XB. This is a car that was produced by Ford Australia. When I look at this thing, I can't help but think post-apocalyptic and Mad Max kind of look to it that it seems to have. But I'm not going to stick guns on it. I just did a post-apocalyptic build, so I'm fighting the urge to do another one on this. This deserves it. It's going to look good with it, but I held back a little bit this time around and tried to do something a little different, but still have I don't know what you'd say, a dark look to it, a darker theme to it. But there you see it. Yeah, there's a plastic base, that plastic insert that has the seat. The driver's seat's on the wrong side. But I guess not if you're in Australia. This is a new casting, so everything's in really good shape. I did have to clean up some casting lines and clean up around the windows and that kind of thing. So I'll take you through that kind of quickly. For this one, I busted out the Krylon Gloss Banner Red that I happen to have from painting some furniture in the backyard, some garden furniture. I got some old decals off eBay a while back, and interestingly enough, I used these two different sets. I took chunks out of each of them. One of them was from a Sunbeam Tiger, and the other was from a Ford Mustang. So I wanted the stripes. So I ended up cutting out the decals I wanted. Unfortunately, these decals are a little older. And as you know, I just, God bless the people who do a lot of decal work, because they have a lot more patience and skill than I do. I know some people look at it as, oh, they just put a decal on it. You know, when you start doing decals, you realize there's a lot of work to decals. It's not like you just slap it on there and you're done. It's an art. And you know, it's one of those things that I need to work on. And as you can see from this, I'm trying to get that decal straight, and I think I have it straight at this point. And then I spin the casting around in front of me, and I realize that thing is so far off center, it's not even funny. So I'm back to straightening it again. But I use micro set, and I used Q-tips and the paintbrush and you name it to try and get it straight. But these decals did break on me as I was installing them. I don't take you through the entire decal process here because, like I said, they broke and I had to overlay them. Fortunately, it worked well. I do also put matching stripes from the other set. I had the two sets, and oddly enough, they had decals that went well together. So I did put some stripes down the sides of the car, the lower sides of the car as well, because I wanted a little something more, a little more pizzazz to it, and yet I didn't want to overdo it. I do have another decal project coming here in the not too distant future, and so I need all the practice I can get. It, like I said, it's definitely an art. At some point, I hope to do more decal printing of my own as well. but that'll be sometime in the future. This did have a plastic base. Those wheels had to go. I have a set of wheels that I'll show you later that seemed perfect for this build, for the look I was going for. And they gave it a mean look as opposed to a pretty look. I was not going for pretty on this at all. I did clear coat it after I put the decals on, by the way. It's time for gauzy, even though that glass is new. And you may notice the different mat in the background. I did this build between two different workbenches, my regular one and the one I'm actually going to be moving to. And I broke in the new bench by, going fishing for the windshield that I dropped in the gauzy. That's the first gauzy I've used here at this new bench. And seriously, I wasn't off to a good start. So, but I had to get the gauzy in there. And I couldn't let that slide. And maybe you get to take an extra shot or two as I was fishing for the windshield in there. As I mentioned, I did clear coat it after doing the decals because I was really concerned about them. I've had other decals, new decals, that sucked up to the paint really wonderfully. These didn't suck up as well, I guess because they're older and maybe tougher. So I clear coated it before I added the painted details, which also, it's kind of what I wanted because I wanted the details, like this rear spoiler wing thing. I wanted it to be flat black. So I did take the base that was chrome, as you saw earlier, drop that in super clean to strip the chrome off of it. That worked. That must have been the thinnest chrome coat ever because that thing was off so quick it wasn't funny. I dropped it in the super clean, and it had to be 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I went back and checked, and it was completely clean. There were no traces of chrome left. So that had to be a really super thin coat of chrome. And then I did end up shooting it with flat black, and I did shoot that gray interior with, it's basically Rust-Oleum flat black. I wanted both of those to, I wasn't going to do a lot of detailing to the interior, but I didn't want it to be gray. And you'll be happy to know that I did not paint the seats red on this one. Even though, as you know, I'm tempted to paint the seats red on every build, I resisted the urge on this one. So I hope you like the fact that I didn't do it. The Gundam markers came in really handy to do the black here. That's the really fine point Gundam marker there that I'm using to get some of the edges of that rear spoiler and in the little notches in the back, and that works out really well. I don't show all of the detailing I do on camera just because there's a lot of footage of all of that where I'm like painting the headlights, silver and that kind of thing. You'll see it in the end result. For the silver on the headlights, I ended up using the Sharpie paint pen. I'm a big fan of those pens. So anyhow, you can tell that is shiny. That's the Minwax polyurethane clear that I used on that. And I'm a believer. Two light coats for me and then one heavy coat, and I couldn't be happier with the results. You can tell I'm kind of looking at it still going, hey, this is pretty nice. And I was pretty happy with the decal job. There you can see the silver headlights. There's also another set of lights in that plastic interior or plastic base piece that goes on here. I did a little highlighting on the base, again with the Sharpie silver paint pen. This is obviously sped up because I wish I was that fast at doing it. There you can see the interior piece at the upper left. I shot both of those with the flat black at the same time. Even though after stripping off the chrome on the base, that I'm painting right there. It was black plastic under that, but it's that peculiar shiny plastic, and I didn't want that. I couldn't resist painting the seatbelts red. Okay, they have the racing seatbelts on this thing, on the driver's seat. So I had to do those red. Those wheels, I think these things are perfect. They're rubber wheels. In the interior, they're from Rogue Syndicate parts. And I couldn't have been happier with those wheels. They fit perfectly. I had to make the axle for it. I did a custom axle. But otherwise, you know, this came together pretty well. And we'll just get the pieces together. There's the glass that I got out of the gauzy. The wheels, again, I cut the axles, and what I did on that, I just used some old axles from wheels that I had cut off another build before. Had to shorten them up a little bit, and then I just used super glue to put a little tiny piece of tubing over the end of the axle to keep the wheels in place, glued that on there. And then, you know, you slide the wheels out of the way so you don't glue them. And then once the glue is dry, you just slide the wheel over to the end and they roll like mad. So again, it was just a matter of popping it back into place. I did use Phillips head screws on this. You see the wheels turning there. I used Phillips head screws on this one, the little shorties. And I've got to stick a magnet or something on that screwdriver because I was just fumbling around with the screws. But I eventually get them in there. So I'd like to take this moment to thank the Three Blind Mice again for having these invitationals. They're a lot of fun. I do castings that I might not do otherwise, and it's fun to see what everybody else comes up with on these builds. And I do have links in the description below to the Three Blind Mice. And you can also go to their, the Three Blind Mice itself. Three Blind Mice Diecast has a channel. And they will be doing a recap of all of the builders for this. So I'd like to thank them a lot for doing these. Because it's fun. It's great to see all of the other builders. It seems like they're getting more and more builders every time. So this is what we started with. That's the original Hot Wheels. There wasn't a lot of detail to it. They threw that silver stripe down the side, but, you know. I don't know, maybe some people like those wheels. I didn't. Here's where I ended up. You can tell I filmed this at the other location because I've got tape covering half of the solar light sensors on the base, and it's a different rotating base. It's my old one that's wobbly and stuff, but hey, I'll get there. Give me some time and be patient with me. There's some glamour shots of it here at the end. I hope you like the direction I went with this. There you can see those side stripes too. I'd like to thank my subscribers for watching this and, you know, following along with me. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to this channel. Check out all the other builders and the Three Blind Mice. Subscribe to their channels too. There's no charge for subscribing. You can check out all of the builds. There's a really good look at it. And I'd also like to take a moment to thank my Patreon members. I really do appreciate your support in doing these silly little cars. Everybody stay safe and healthy out there, and enjoy this. Catch y'all in the next one.